This is the brand new 2100 PSI 1.2 GPM battery powered pressure washer from Ego. And in today's video, we're gonna be doing a full breakdown of this thing. We're gonna be unboxing it, seeing exactly what it comes with. We're gonna be looking at the overall build quality of the unit. We'll talk about pricing. We're gonna compare this to their 3200 PSI unit, and then we'll actually get out and test the usable numbers to see exactly what we can expect out of this thing. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about pricing because obviously that's a big determining factor. This thing, if you go unit only, you can buy it unit only or as a kit that comes with a battery and a charger. Unit only, $299, which I think is a pretty good value considering the build quality of this thing and being battery powered. If you have batteries. If you don't have batteries, then the kit cost is $449, I believe, something like that. It's about $150 more. A 6 amp hour battery from Ego is very, very expensive. They're huge batteries. 56 volts, 6 amp hour, that's what they recommend with this thing. I already had a bunch of them. I have a bunch of Ego tools, so I already had them and just bought this thing for $299. All right, guys, so here is the unit. First impressions just of the overall look of this thing. They really nailed it. Like, it looks really, really good. You have the enclosure right up here for your battery storage, so that's where the battery goes there. It's a, without the battery, it's not a heavy machine. Not light, but not heavy. You do have your water inlet right here. You flip it over to the outside, your water outlet is here, and it does come with a 3/8 quick connect, so you can screw that in, and then you're good to go because the hose that they included on this thing already has quick connects as well. But let's go ahead and continue and talk about the overall design of this thing because, again, I really, really like it. These straps are just here, I guess, for any additional stuff that you want to carry, like this guy here. This is a water pickup. So if you were to be using this thing like at the lake or you wanted to pull water from a bucket, then you can do that. You also get a filter attachment with a quick connect, so you can literally just insert that. It'll clip in. Hard to do one-handed, but you get the idea. And then you can put that in the lake and you don't have to worry about any debris coming through the system. Now moving on from there, you also include 4 different nozzles. You get a turbo nozzle, and I have to say, guys, the way they build out these nozzles, they're very nice. Like, they look great. They have good texture to them, nice grip. Really good. So there's the turbo of 15, and then on the other side I put the 25 and the 40. Usual, same standard colors. Yellow is the 15, green is the 25, white is the 40. Now for storage for the gun portion, nice quality gun here. The only thing I don't like, as you guys know, is the attachment in the front here. I prefer if it was off the back. Again, that's for my preference as a car detailer. I just don't like the hose being in front because I could rub it against the vehicle. You have to be extra careful with that. I prefer if it comes off the back, but whatever. It's nice that they included a quick connect for it. And then you do have the lance extension. And the lance extension is very nice as well because it is just a simple quick connect to the front here. You don't have to screw it in, so it makes it very, very easy for the storage portion of this machine. So, doesn't matter. I really like how they did this. It doesn't matter which side you want to put the extension versus the gun on because they built in this little piece here. So as you can see, you put this in and then this will snap in and hold in place in that little side, which I really, really like. Again, just little details that they really nailed. So again, that's available on both sides. And then you have the gun. You put that back there. It sits in nicely. Good to go. So very, very cool. Let's talk about the hose real quick. Now, I don't know. I think this is a 20 or 25 footer. I can't remember. I'll look at the instructions for you guys. But it includes nice brass quick connects. Some people may say, oh, it should be stainless steel. I have zero problem with the brass. I love the brass. It's no issue for me at all. Saves a little bit of money. So you still get great quality. This one's a little bit, is it loose? No, it's good to go. So I would recommend always just double checking, make sure those are tight before you actually use it. The hose itself, it does not say Uberflex, but I would be surprised if it wasn't an Uberflex. The build quality of this thing, the flexibility, all that kind of stuff, the anti-kink, it will roll over on itself just like a Uberflex will, but then there's no memory to that line. So really, really, again, I'm not sure if this is actually an Uberflex, but with that said, it's a fantastic quality hose. And last but not least, you get a little foam blaster deal. You can see, let's see, will this rotate? Yep, it will. So this is similar to the AR one that I just did a review on, the one that it comes with. So you can see the steel mesh filter in there. You can make adjustments on the top here. Nice quick connect on the back. This is not going to be thick foam, guys. It'll get you foam soap application through the system. These are basically in replacement of like the other types of pressure washers where they have a solution tank. Now, I still recommend this much more over that because when you have a solution tank, it runs through the entire system. It can, leave soap or whatever kind of chemical in your hose line. This goes at the very end of it, so you don't have to worry about contamination throughout the hose. So I do like that, but we will be using an actual proper foam cannon instead of this thing. Now, they state that this thing has a runtime of up to 30 minutes when you're using the recommended or included, if you buy the kit, 6 amp hour battery. Up to 30 minutes means to me that it's gonna be on low power. You have a low, medium, and high power for this thing. So that's gonna be on low power, and we're gonna test to see exactly how much time we actually get if we're using it at high power to get the most performance out of it. Now let's go ahead and look at the difference between these two units. Again, full kit price, this one is at $799, I believe. $799, it was $800, yeah, for the 3200 PSI unit. This thing is incredible. As you can see, substantially larger, twice the size for sure. Much bigger. You do get wheels, you get a retractable handle as well, so you can move it around. Battery compartment up top holds 2 batteries, not 1. And then a couple other differences that we'll touch on here, but really quickly for this one, what they advertise, the low speed or the runtime of up to 60 minutes. So again, on low speed, I have some notes from when I reviewed this thing. If you want to see the full review on this, I'll link it up here for you guys so you can check that out. But on high power with this unit, I got a full 16 minutes of runtime at high power. Then I did do some manipulation with the nozzles to see what kind of other performance I can get for washing cars. Typically, we want lower PSI and higher gallon per minute rating of water flow through. With a 3.0 nozzle on medium, I was able to get 1100 PSI at 1.65 GPM out of this thing. And at high, I was able to get 1200 PSI, 1.717. Then I bumped it up to a 3.5 orifice nozzle. On medium, I was getting 900 at 1.717. On high, I was getting 1000 at 1.75. Incredible numbers out of this thing, guys. Like, this is a great unit, so I have high hopes that this one is equally as well built and well performing. Obviously, this one's rated at 3200, this one's rated at 2100, 2 batteries versus 1. Also, $799 versus $449, so almost double the price. So we're gonna test this thing and really see how it compares to this one. A couple of things I wanted to know is the hoses that both these units came with were the same. However, with the 3200 system, the hose comes with 1 quick connect and the other one is just a basic screw on because the gun is a typical screw on type. You do get a quick connect off the front, but it's a screw on. And forgive me if I'm wrong about that, guys. I believe that's how it came. I can't remember if that's how it came or if I added those, but I'm pretty sure that's how it came. And again, even with this one, it's not a big deal. You could always add another quick connect very, very easily. Now, as we saw with this one, quick connect on both sides, quick connect on the gun, everything's all good to go there. One feature that you do lose though when going from the 3200 down to the 2100 is on the gun of the 3200, there is a battery or a remote control to it. So you're able to control the power just by pushing this button from high to low. Really, really cool feature. Was that something that I personally used? No, not really. I typically know what PSI and GPM range I want to operate in, and I go with that. But if you're out around the house working and you need a little bit of a bump, you say you're using it at a lower speed because you want to conserve, how much time you can get out of it, you can bump it up for areas where you need a little more power. So really cool. On the 2100, that goes away. No more remote control on the gun. But I think overall build quality of the gun on this one is fantastic. I really, really like it. One thing you do want to note is that the locking mechanism, there's a little piece here that when it pushes back and forth for locking and unlocking. And right now it's perfect. You just got to make sure it's pushed up. See, it wants to catch every once. There, did you hear that? So we're unlocked. You hear that again. So this is kind of moving over a little bit. It's just a very, very little tolerance to it. And sometimes it wants to grab. Not the end of the world. I'm sure it'll work out over time. Just something to know. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and take this thing out now and start testing it. What I'm gonna do is I have 2 6 amp hour batteries here. So one of them I'm gonna use just to purely test runtime on high, on the highest capability, right? We already know 30 minutes on low. I wanna know what we can get on high, and then obviously medium will be somewhere between. So we're about to start testing. I've got the unit right down here, plugged in, everything's ready to go. I have my pressure gauge here right in line like I always do. I also have a bucket here set up. So what I'm gonna do is all of these nozzles seem to be marked with the same numbers, so I'm assuming they're all the same size orifice. I'll test that afterwards, but we're gonna start off with the 40-degree nozzle. And what I'm gonna do is, just to save time in this whole process, I'm going to start the unit in the bucket, run it for 1 minute. That's gonna give us our gallons per minute rating. At that time, I will also test the PSI, and I'll just let you guys know. I have this Velcro strip here so I can keep it pegged. And then once we're done with 1 minute, I'm gonna pull it out and let it continue to run. Again, this is all gonna be done on high speed so that we can see exactly how long the unit lasts for runtime at high power. So let me go ahead and get this ready and we'll get going. Really quickly, I wanna show you guys the battery container, which is right here. And again, we're using a 6 amp hour battery. As you can see, it maxes it out pretty good. I don't know if you could fit a larger one in there or not. Definitely fit a smaller one, but the recommended is a 6 amp hour. That's what we're using. And just so you guys can see, we are full power on this thing. It's a brand new battery, fully charged. So not a brand new battery, but fully charged. So, all right, it's unplugged right now. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my water source on. Okay, so we've got water going through the unit. All right, guys, we should be good to go. Again, the trigger is not pulled. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. There you go, you hear the unit run. It has a total stop system, so it did stop, which is perfect. So we're gonna go ahead and insert it in the bucket. We'll start testing. Again, I'm gonna let it run for 1 minute, then I'll pull it out and just let it continue to run so we get the full runtime on high. All right, and here we go. Nope. So guys, this trigger lock is not my favorite. It locked in place without me putting it in place, which is a little bit annoying. It moves back and forth a little too easily in my opinion, but outside of that, it seems great. Let's go ahead and test it. Here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and test it, look at the PSI. Woo, that's pretty good. We're up at 1800 PSI currently on high power with the 40-degree nozzle. So we're at 45 seconds now. And again, I'm just gonna pull it out at 1 minute. All right. And look at that, guys. That's a great amount of power to it. Let me just put it up against the car so I can see how it feels. Yeah, honestly, guys, it feels like it's a lower GPM. We'll test that in a second here when I weigh out the bucket. So I'm just gonna let this gonna let it there. I'm gonna let it do its thing. The timer's still going. I'm gonna go weigh this out real quick. All right, guys, so we are 3 minutes and 15 seconds into this. 2 of the indicator lights on the battery are gone. I did just weigh up the bucket, subtracted the weight of the bucket, got how many pounds were left over of pure water, divided by that by the weight of a gallon of water, and we are coming in at 1.07 gallons per minute as it sits right now. 1800 PSI, 1.07 gallons per minute. We've actually dropped a little bit in PSI over this amount of time. We're sitting at 1700 now. Fluctuating though, between 17 and 1800, we're at 1750. Five minutes in, still showing 2 indicator lights on the battery gone, which means we still have 3 indicator lights on it. We're at 6.5 minutes. We're down to 2 light indicators left. All right, guys, we just hit 8 minutes and 45 seconds and just dropped down to 1 indicator light left. No difference in production of, the PSI has not changed. It's still in that 17 to 1800 range, kind of bouncing around between there, but no consistency change since the battery is lower. So we're just gonna let it keep going until it dies. We're at 10 minutes, 40 seconds. It's flashing red now, and we are dropping down to about 1600 PSI. We're dropping from 1500 down to 1400 now. Still flashing red. Sounds like it's gonna die any second. Guys, 13 minutes, pretty much on that was like 12:59, right there though, so I'm gonna call it 13 minutes on high power. All right, guys, so part 2 of the test. The runtime, 13 minutes on high. I'm quite impressed with that because I think, remember the other unit I said got 16 minutes on high, again, higher pressure and all that, but full runtime on high was 16 minutes with that unit versus 13 minutes here, pretty good. Now I have another battery fully charged. We're gonna go ahead and throw this one in. We're gonna start testing the PSI ranges with different nozzles. I have a 2.5, a 3.0, and a 3.5. We'll test those and see what we get. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and replace the factory nozzle with, starting off with the 2.5. Now, ideally, I want my PSI range to be right around 1,000 PSI and get the most GPM, gallons per minute rating flow that I can. When I'm detailing cars, that higher flow, the higher GPM number, just makes the rinsing ability so much easier, so much faster. So that's why I care about that number so much. So 2.5, we're just gonna put it on high, see what kind of PSI we get to start. Here we go, it's on high. All right, and we are already just shy of 1100, right about 1080. Let me go to the 3.0 and just see what that gets us. Let me find the nozzle. All right, 3.0. Here we go. All right, we're all the way down to 800. So the 2.5 is going to be where I would use this machine. So let me put that away. We're going to test the 2.5 now. We're going to test. Actually, let's see what PSI it gets on medium real quick. So 2 bars. Here we go. Test the PSI. Interesting. I get no difference between medium and high. On low, we definitely get a change. I'm gonna go back to the factory nozzle and test that again to see if there's a difference here. So then I'm gonna film on my phone as well so you guys can see. All right, so here we go. Machine is on low. You can see one bar there. So we're gonna check the PSI here. With the factory nozzle, so remember this one's gonna get a lot less gallons per minute flow. We're at 1,000 PSI. We're gonna bump it up to stage 2 there, medium. $2,500, and then we'll go full speed. And there is the 1,800. Actually, a little bit above 1,800 now, so, but basically 1,800. But when we switch over back to the 2.5 nozzle, again, the reason we're doing that is opening up that nozzle, we get more flow. Okay, so the 2.5 nozzle is in. We're gonna go ahead and go back to low power, 1 bar. Here we go. What is that? 5, 6, 700. 700 PSI. We're gonna go up to medium. There's that 1050, 1080. And then we'll go to high, 3 bars. And same thing. So good to know. With the factory nozzles, yes, high, low, and medium all do function differently. With this 2.5, only low and then high and medium are the same. So what are we at? 1080 PSI. Let's go ahead and test the GPM. All right, so we are on high power, 2.5 orifice nozzle. We're gonna let it run for 1 minute and test the gallons per minute. Here we go. Yeah, guys, we're pretty much at like a proper 1100 PSI. All right, guys, so I actually let it go like half a second over 1 minute just to help count for that, the very beginning, how there was that slower ramp up. So I wanted to give it a little bit of time just to help negotiate that and get the actual water flow. So let me go ahead and weigh this out and I'll let you guys know what it's at. All right, guys, so I am back. I just weighed everything out. We did increase, but not a ton. So we're at 1100 PSI. I'm gonna call it that, it was right there. But we only increased to 1.25 GPM. So my overall thoughts, well, let's go talk about it. All right, guys, so final thoughts on the Ego 2100 PSI battery-powered pressure washer. Overall, I think build quality on it is fantastic. I think it's a really good unit. The only thing I'm having issues with is the trigger, how it can kind of get stuck a little bit. Not the end of the world. You could definitely replace the gun if you wanted to. There's no remote control aspect to this one, so replace the gun, no big deal. The only, man, I would say for me, for washing cars, No, I don't, no. I mean, you absolutely can. Just for efficiency, I would want something with higher flow at that 1100 PSI. It was only getting 1.25. It's just not enough water flow for me personally. I would want it to be at least 1.4, 1.45, something like that. With that said, I think we're getting into spring, summer. For people with boats, I think this is a phenomenal item to rinse your boat off. I think it's incredible for that. Also, if you're living in a place, you're kind of limited on space, this pressure washer is really small, really compact. All the storage is built right on board, so that's great. You don't need a power cord, which again is space saving if you're in a tight area. So blasting off your patio, your deck, driveways, things like that, still with that 1800 PSI that I was getting, it'll get the job done. It's not a ton of flow, right? Keep that in mind, but that PSI will help to get things done. And then especially when you add in the turbo nozzle with that helps cleaning ability significantly. So overall, I like the unit a lot. I think it's a really cool little unit. For me, as a car detailer, if I was gonna go battery powered, it would still be the Ego 3200 for sure. The runtime wasn't that much longer on high. It was only like 3 minutes higher, but I was getting significantly better numbers on the PSI and GPM range for that. Like significant, 1,000, 1,100 at 1.7 or something like that. Those are good numbers. So again, this, I think it has a place. I think it's a really, really well-built unit. It's just for my needs, because I already have the 3200, I wouldn't go with this one. But if I was looking for something just as a basic all-around unit, especially if I already had Ego tools, it's a great choice because then you're not buying the batteries on top of that. So that's it for today's video, guys. I hope that video helps you. Please make sure to like the video, make sure you're subscribed, turn on the notification bell, and we will see you on the next one.